Do you know what caused the mysterious demise of the mighty Aztec Empire? Today, we're diving deep into the secrets of the Aztec Empire's sudden disappearance and the role of a deadly plague. We'll also explore some fascinating facts about this ancient civilization that you might not know. If you find this video interesting, please support us by hitting the like button. Now, let's get started. About 5 centuries ago, the once mighty Aztec Empire, boasting a population of 15 million people including outstanding farmers, merchants, and various tradespeople, faced a mysterious and significant decline. It is believed that the Aztecs were decimated in the mid-16th century due to the spread of a plague, which they called Cocolistly. There were 2 such epidemics, one in 1545 and the other in 1576, and like many diseases, many people suffered from the symptoms of this plague. Among the most frightening symptoms of this plague were continuous fever, profuse bleeding from the eyes, nose, and mouth, and severe pain and swelling around the ears and neck. As one can imagine, the survival rate of this plague was very low. The question of what caused the plague that killed so many people has been the subject of many theories, some attributing it to plague, typhus, measles, influenza, and a myriad of other contagious diseases. But finally, a study published in Nature Ecology and Evolution has revealed the answer. Kristen Boss and her team of molecular paleopathologists examined the DNA of Aztec teeth, excavated from what is now southern Mexico, and by subjecting 29 sets of human remains to state-of-the-art research techniques, they determined that the pathogen was Salmonella Typhimurium. Salmonella is a well-known bacterium that causes food poisoning. Today, it is said that it takes 4 to 7 days for a person to recover spontaneously from this condition. But the situation was a little different during the time of the Aztec Empire. In modern times, we understand that the bacteria enter our bodies through contaminated food and water, primarily infecting the internal organ systems. However, the presence of the bacteria in the teeth suggests that it traveled throughout the Aztec people's bodies in their blood. Who would have thought that Salmonella, which today causes only minor health problems, would destroy an empire? So how did this Salmonella bacteria make its way to the Aztecs? The most popular theory is that it was one of the gifts brought to the New World by Europeans. Therefore, the idea that the Aztec Empire was destroyed by the Spanish may not be far off the mark. The bacteria that the Spaniards and other Europeans brought across the sea caused an unprecedented plague. According to this theory, the Cocolistly spread from what is now central Mexico through Guatemala, and reached as far as Peru. On the other hand, some researchers believe that the plague did not originate in Europe, but was a new local outbreak, since Europeans themselves were involved in the plague and did not understand how to treat it. The answer to this question remains a mystery. Now that we have identified the plague that nearly destroyed the empire, perhaps the next thing researchers will reveal is its root. The origin of the name, Aztecs. We call them Aztecs, right? But this is not their real name. This name was given by Europeans based on Aztlán, a place from Aztec mythology, believed to be located in northern Mexico. The name the Aztecs used to call themselves was Mexica. Yes, it is the origin of the name of the country we now call Mexico. The originators of basketball. The Aztecs didn't invent basketball. Instead, they played a game that bears some resemblance to what we now recognize as basketball. The name of that game was Alamalistli. The ball they used was made of rubber, a rare material in those times. They played this game inside a court known as Tlachtli. Competitors were required to pass the ball through a stone circle, and the ball was not allowed to be touched except on the face, elbows, knees, or hips. While the ball may resemble a basketball, the game itself was quite different. Then there was one more important rule. You were not allowed to drop the ball on the ground. It seems like a much harder sport than basketball. Unique calendar. The Aztec Empire used a solar calendar with 365 days in a year. This might sound similar to our modern calendar, right? But here's the difference: the year was divided into 18 months, each consisting of 20 days. If you are a quick calculator, you will notice that 20 by 18 is only 360. The extra 5 days were added to the end of the year. And this was supposed to be 5 more days of misery. Special slavery. In addition to the calendar, slavery was also unique in the Aztec Empire. Poor people could sell their children and even themselves as slaves. Interestingly, in addition to the money earned from that trade, they could buy back their own freedom with the wages earned from their labor. Also, if they escaped and set foot in a holy temple, they could dissolve their status of being owned by someone else. Also, remaining a slave was not necessarily a misfortune. Slaves could marry, they could have families, property, and, what's more, they could even own their own slaves. And children born to slaves were not considered property of their masters. While some slaves might have found relative comfort in their roles, it's essential to remember that slavery remains a dark chapter in human history. Polygamy. In terms of family structure, Aztec men were allowed to marry multiple women, provided they adhered to certain rules. Weddings were only with the first wife, but men were allowed to have other wives, as long as they gave them the same status as the first wife. Families with more than one wife were wealthy and most had high social status. However, while divorce was allowed in Aztec culture, adultery was punishable by death. Adultery was apparently not tolerated in Aztec culture. Arts and crafts. Although the Aztecs were known for killing many people, they were not just savages. Their artistic talents were very rich. Most of their works are said to have been offerings to the gods. But the techniques used were of the highest caliber. The materials used for everything from fine pottery to sculpture to the huge idols for temples were jade, obsidian, and crystal. It is believed that people made very realistic statues of people and beasts. The art of warfare was also considered an art form. It is said that the Aztecs decorated the bodies of their brave soldiers with tattoos, showcasing the deeds they achieved on the battlefield. Compulsory education. The presence of a compulsory education system highlights the Aztecs' dedication to the arts and education. Male children of wealthy aristocrats learned history, astronomy, the arts, politics, and even leadership. Children from lower social classes went to a separate school, where they learned all the skills necessary to become great warriors in the future. Girls went to girls' schools, where they learned about cooking, weaving, and other domestic chores. Capital city. The Aztec capital was situated in the middle of a lake. Its name was Tenochtitlan. Its population is said to have been a whopping 200,000. And it is said to have been as prosperous as most European cities at the time. Tenochtitlan was also home to garbage collectors and others, who were responsible for the sanitation of the city. The lake where Tenochtitlan once stood has been mostly reclaimed and turned into land, and today, Mexico City stands on the site. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.